I'll never forget one day I went to Walmart with my two oldest boys. At the time, they were 9 and maybe 6 or 7. I can't remember the years between them. But anyway, they were wild. They were everywhere. I couldn't rein them in. I was getting a little frustrated, and they were loud. They wanted what they wanted, and they were screaming and yelling if they didn't get it. You know what I'm talking about. And I remember looking over and seeing some people looking at me and looking at my kids and feeling judged. And I think we've all been there. And I was getting a little, I don't know if I was more frustrated with my kids and what they were doing, or more frustrated with these other adults who were judging me. And I remember I finally got the kids wrangled. I got them. I didn't say anything, but I was getting pretty ticked off about it. And I thought about it all the way home on my drive, and the kids were just wild in the car, screaming and yelling, trying to get out of their, seats. And you know how kids are, right? My boys were feral. And I got home and I started talking to my wife about it. And she said, I deal with that every day. Yeah, that happens. And I said, well, how do you deal with the judgment? And she said, I don't really feel judged. And I said, what? Are people not looking at you when you're trying to wrangle the kids? And she said, of course, but I think they're just looking at me because they have empathy or sympathy for me. And because most parents have been there. And I said, wait a minute. I'm sure it's the same people that are looking at you are looking at me. Why do I feel judged and you don't feel judged? And she said something I'll never forget. She said, maybe it's because you're judgmental of other people and you're projecting the way you judge other parents onto them and the way they look at you. And frankly, I didn't like that, but she was kind of right. If I saw other parents and kids misbehaving or acting wild, I'm like, I wish they'd get control of their kids. I used to think that, right? And it made me realize very quickly that my wife, Shelly, was not judgmental of other parents. She knew it was tricky. She knew it was hard. And I think she realized that you have to take the kids to the to Walmart sometimes to get things. And she was doing her very best. And when she saw other people looking at her, she just thought they were looking at her and saying, "Oh, good for her for trying her best." And those kids are learning and growing, and she's doing her very best, and she's calm and patient. And me, it was completely different. I thought they were judging me. They thought I was a bad parent. And as I started to realize what she was talking about, I realized she was right. Because I was judgmental. I was projecting my judgment on how they looked at me, and I was completely wrong. And I remember the minute I let go of judgment of other people, and I started seeing kids and parents, and I thought, oh shoot, that parent's struggling because that kid is having trouble. He's wild. He's out of control. And I started having more sympathy and empathy for the parent, and less judgment for them not doing a good job. I didn't feel so judged anymore. And it's amazing how that works, right? I think all too often when we feel like we're being stared at or judged, it's because we might have judgmental thoughts and we're projecting our thoughts onto them. So hopefully that makes sense. It's projecting who we are onto other people. And my wife was very good at she did the same thing, but she was very empathetic and sympathetic. She was a very kind, sweet, uh, feminine woman, and she had a different view of it. And so when she taught me that, I remember starting to use that on a consistent basis, and I felt less judged, and I felt like people were rooting for me when I went to Walmart, and it changed the way that I managed my kids, and I felt about myself, and I felt about other people. So hopefully that's helpful. If it's a little challenging, that's okay too. Think about it a little bit and see how it makes you feel. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.